What is good, everybody? This is your guy, Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. I'm excited to be back. I am here to stay. I've been away for a while, but I'm going to be coming back on, doing more streams, doing more podcasts. And on today's episode of this podcast, we're going to be talking NBA. Free agency. It was a great period in the NBA, a lot of drama. I'm going to cover as much of that as possible. But before I get this show on and popping, I got to run the intro. What is good, Mike, and everybody who is listening, everybody who is tuning in live on this stream? Please like, please subscribe, please share. Man, it's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. I've been gone for a long time. So this is the NBA pod. Today, might do the fantasy pod tomorrow and do an NFL pod the next day, but we're going to get these streams on and popping. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to run through some of these moves, and we're going to talk about them. Yeah, man, I'm doing good, man. It's just been a lot going on, but God is good. God is good all the time. Family's doing well, so I'm just excited, man, to be back. So as we look at the NBA, right? There's some big news. There's some small news. The biggest news right now is that Kyrie could find his way on to the Lakers, right? But in order for that trade to happen, you hear rumors about the Lakers would have to include a first, maybe two first round picks in order to acquire a Kyrie. Now, here's the problem. If Kyrie's coming to the Lakers, Russell Westbrook has to be on his way to the Nets. But the problem is Russell Westbrook is about $40+ million a year contract, and Kyrie is like around 36, 37. So there's like about a $10 million gap there. So that means the Nets would have to add another player. You're looking at Joe Harris. You're also looking at guys like Seth Curry. So we don't know what the package is going to be. And then the Lakers might toss in a Horton Tucker just to kind of give them a young piece, including a first-round pick in order to acquire Kyrie. Lakers have interest in signing a Kyrie, but also you have the Nets, who most likely are going to waive or stretch Westbrook or just let him play out that 1 year and then he's gone, or they can, work out a buyout later as the season goes on. What's good, Hawk, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Appreciate you, Mike, for tuning in, man. So, let's go ahead and move on to some other trades or some other moves that have happened. So, Kemba Walker has gotten that buyout with the Detroit Pistons. Once he clears waivers, he's free to go wherever he wants to go. I really don't know of a team where Kemba Walker goes in and fits right on in. So on the eve of, or on the day of Kevin Durant saying, "Hey, I want to get traded," it was crazy. What's good, Bill, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Man, let's do this thing. Yeah, Hawk says the summer league is fire. The summer league is fire, man. And we definitely have to talk about Chet versus Kenny Lofton last night. That was a pretty good matchup. I'll try to find some footage on that because that's something that I definitely want to share on the stream before the stream is over. This Redskins Super Bowl window is open now. I believe the window is open. I mean, it's now or never. You have your veteran quarterback in Carson Wentz. We got to see what happens with that squad. So when Kevin Durant said, "Hey, I want out," that same day, I believe they traded a first-round pick for Royce O'Neal. Why would the Nets trade a first-round pick for Royce O'Neal? Are you competing? Is it that the pieces that you're going to be getting back in a potential Kevin Durant trade is going to propel you to be a contender? Or is it that you're recouping? I mean, it makes no sense. The Nets literally have no draft picks. They gave up a lot of draft picks to pick up James Harden, and now you're giving up one of the only first-round picks that you have for Royce O'Neal, who's a rotational guy, who is a role player. So I really didn't even understand this trade at all. I mean, this move at all. He says, I see Kemba Walker as a Wizard or a Pacer. I can see that, but the Wizards probably have one more spot left. And if Kemba Walker is to go to the Wizards, you got Monte Morris out there. You have the other guy that they signed. I don't know where he fits in with the Wizards, but it's possible. It's possible. He says Royce O'Neal is a good role player. He's a good role player, but you don't trade a first-round pick for a good role player. That's just my opinion. It just makes no sense to me. So run through some other moves. Like I said that day, the Kevin Durant news broke. And from what I'm hearing, the Brooklyn Nets want a star caliber type player like a Brandon Ingram, but then they also want like multiple first-round picks. When I say multiple with a capital M, we're talking about 3 or more first-round picks. We've seen Rudy Gobert go for 4 first-round picks and a bunch of players. So if Rudy Gobert is resetting the market, KD gotta get more draft capital, right? I mean, you gotta trade more picks for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is arguably one of the top 3 best players in the league. I mean, he is Kevin Durant, right? He's that dude. So Lonnie Walker became an unrestricted free agent, signed with the Lakers. That was great for my Lakers. I was excited about that. Jalen Brunson, Knicks fans are excited, and then they're also pissed. So it's like 50-50. A lot of the Knicks fans were excited to get Jalen Brunson. It was for about $1.2 million, $102 million 4-year contract. It was the first time that a non-all-star caliber player or a non-all-star player gets signed in free agency for over $100 million. First time in history. So the money's going up. My guy, Time Out Sports, man. What's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Just, can you please tell me what Minnesota is doing? Rudy Gobert is a role player himself. I agree and I disagree. Rudy Gobert is great at what he does, which is play defense. He's one of the best defenders to ever play the game. You look at Rudy Gobert, right? He gets dunked on a lot, but he contests a lot of shots. Rudy Gobert is a good player. We're going to get into Rudy Gobert if we got time. I'm going to break down his numbers. What I'm saying is Rudy Gobert is good, but he's not worth 4 first-round picks. He's not worth – he's probably worth maybe 2 first-round picks. 4, I don't know. So what Minnesota is doing is they're tired of going through that lottery process. And even in that lottery process, they're not always good at acquiring talent. Josh Okogie and the rest of these other guys that they've drafted. Did they draft Okogie? I'm not sure. But they don't have a lot to show forth. Besides Cat and Ant, who else have Minnesota really drafted that have been a staple or that have been a household name? So you got, after a while, you got to start bringing in guys that are established. Because if you bring in a guy like Rudy Gobert, right, Minnesota's hoping that they become a really good team to where they're drafting later on in the draft. They're drafting outside of the lottery. They're tired of not making a playoff. So they make this move thinking that they can pair Cat and Rudy Gobert in order to, be a perennial playoff team that contends every single year. We'll see. The Atlanta Hawks also made a crazy deal getting the DeJounte Murray. What was it for 3 first-round picks? So he's not worth 3 first-round picks. He's a great player. He's a good to great player, but so some of these values are kind of, it's kind of crazy when you see what's going on in the landscape of the NBA. Hawk says he's good on defense, but he doesn't give you any offense outside of lob dunks. He might not give you anything outside of lob dunks, but he does it and he does it well. Let's go look at the numbers since Hawk wants to talk Rudy Gobert. So he's been in the NBA for 9 seasons, right? Ever since 2016, he averages 14 points and 12 rebounds, 15 points. So he averages anywhere between 14 to 16 points, and then he averages anywhere between 10 to 14 rebounds. That's pretty solid. I mean, and then he shoots a high field goal percentage with all these dunks. And then he gets you 2.3 blocks every single year. He gets you steals, at least 0.8 steals a game. So, I mean, the totality of it is if you have Rudy Gobert on your team, he's going to improve your defense potentially. And he has a 7'9" wingspan, standing at 7'1". So Rudy Gobert is good and possibly great at what he does, but I will not call him a role player. He's an all-star, but he's just not the typical center that you're looking for. We're always looking for the centers that have, more athletic ability, like, guys that can work in the post. Yeah, Rudy's a good rim runner, and I think that D'Angelo Russell benefits the most from Rudy Gobert being on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Jaren Jackson, he's out, he's sidelined 4 to 6 months. That was tough. Shout out to Nikola Jokic, the Joker, man, the multi MVP 5-year deal, $264 million super max contract. That's the largest contract in NBA history. It wasn't just like 5 or 6 years ago that Mike Conley got the most money ever in the NBA at that time, and it was like what, $153 million, and now you have Joker at $264 million. I mean, you're talking about generational wealth. You're talking about generational wealth, man. And look, I'm happy for him. I don't know if any player in the NBA is worth $200 million, but hey, to each his own. Now you got Bradley Beal, who got a 5-year deal, $251 million maximum contract. I don't know about this deal. This deal right here is kind of crazy to me. $250 million for Bradley Beal, and each year of this contract, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. I think that Bradley Beal is a phenomenal NBA player, but I don't know if he's worth $250. For those of you guys that are watching, for those of you guys that are going to be watching the replay, please drop the comments in the comment section. If you're listening on the podcast form, please hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Facebook. Let's discuss this Bradley Beal contract. I'm not a fan of it. It is what it is. PJ Tucker is taking his talents to the Philadelphia 76ers, 3-year deal, $33.2 million. Another guy got paid, and it was Devin Booker. He gets a 4-year, $214 million extension to stay with Phoenix. These deals are getting crazy. It's going to get even more and more crazy that when you have these big deals, it's hard to trade these players because per NBA rule, the contracts have to match. When you are trading a player, contracts have to match. So when you're talking about guys that are going to be earning in the high 50s a year, close to 60s a year, it's going to get kind of crazy. Timeout Sports says Beal is not interested in winning. They had to pay him because he's one of the best scorers in the league. I feel you on that, but are you hating on Bradley Beal because you wanted Bradley Beal on Miami? Or is it like, what is it exactly? Do you honestly just think that Beal is not interested in winning? Because that $250-something million contract, he won. That's a win. That's a win. And I would have done the same exact thing if I'm Bradley Beal. He's not old, but he's young enough to where he can still get another contract after this deal. And then not only that, once you have your bag in the NBA, you can always be traded to wherever you want to go. So I see a scenario where Bradley Beal plays 1 year and then maybe 2 years max, and then he's shipped off to somebody for players and first round picks and things of that nature. Wizards did a business decision. Wizards actually won. They had to pay this money just because, it's Bradley Beal. Now, Timeout Sports says, I'm just stating facts. I didn't think he was coming to Miami. I feel you. I respect that. But, yeah, I think that Bradley Beal's a good player. But I don't think any player is worth $200 million, like I said before. Malik Monk signed with Sacramento. He left the Lakers. Smart move for him because you stay on the Lakers for a super, super discount. You get playing time. You get the fame. You get the status with being in L.A., but at the same time, you don't get the money. So he gets the $10 billion a year, which is a awesome deal. It beats what the Lakers could have offered, which was some of their taxpayer ML, which was $6 million a year, which they gave to Lonnie Walker. Oladipo going back to Miami was a huge surprise for me. 1-year deal, $11 million. Maybe that was the most money he can find on the open market. I really honestly thought that Oladipo would go somewhere like the Wizards. They had about $10 million to spare, and he would have had a starting position in DC. But he goes back to Miami. I think Oladipo possibly starts this year with Tyler Hero coming off the bench, but I'm hearing that Tyler Hero wants to start. So we don't know what happens with Miami. We don't even know if Miami is going to take a step forward or a step backwards, because I don't think that Miami has gotten any better from where they were last year. Nicholas Batoon signs a 2-year deal to stay with the Clippers. The Clippers have a really solid team. Also adding John Wall in a buyout. So that was excellent. DeAndre Jordan goes to the Nuggets. Danielle House goes to Philly. So Philly's loading up on some defensive type wings. Mo Bamba stays with Orlando. That was a shocker to me. I thought he would have more of a market, but $21 million for 2 years. It's not a bad deal, but I honestly thought he was going to get at least 12 to 13 a year. So it's not too far off that he got 21 for 2 years. Anthony Simons, man, this guy right here exploded last year because of time and opportunity. 4-year deal, $100 million contract. Yeah, these contracts are just kind of going crazy to me. Let me get into the comment section for a little bit. Dre, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please share, please subscribe. It says, I like your point position. Tommy into plus minus defensive and Morris. And, oh, yeah, Barton. They did get Barton. Was a number 1 and number 2 at their position. He also said, DeLon Wright assist turnover ratio was almost 4-1. So, yeah, I love Wright. He's more defensive minded. I like Monte Morris. I like the moves that the Wizards made. I love. I think the Wizards are going to be a top 6 seed in the East this year, especially if Beal does what he does. If KP stays healthy, Kuzma is going to take a whole nother jump. I see Kuzma as a 20-10 guy next year, or even a 20-12 kind of guy. Kuzma can be that kind of guy. And then you add in Barton, and then you add all these different guys that are going to come in and give some energy. So, yeah, I like the moves that the Washington Wizards have made this year. Since Miami's going to make another move. Let's see. I think the move that Miami makes is most likely going to be a trade, and I would not be surprised if Tyler Hero's on his way out for another star to come. Jimmy Butler wants another star to pair with Bam Adebayo. So we'll see what happens with the Miami Heat. Bobby Portis decides to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks 4 years, $49 million contract. Tyus Jones, 2-year, $30 million. He becomes the highest paid backup point guard in the league. Shout out to Tyus Jones coming out of Duke. I was kind of skeptical. I didn't know how he was going to play. His first stop, I forgot where he went when he first got drafted. Didn't do too well. Came on the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's been solid ever since. Joe Ingles with the Bucks. I really like that pickup. He's scrappy guy. Wesley Matthews, 1-year deal to return to the Milwaukee Bucks. Another guy that I like. He's real scrappy, and he gets the job done. Amir Coffey, 3-year, $11 million deal to stay with the Clippers. Lou Dort, 5-year, $87.5 million contract. That's solid for an undrafted guy who's come in and made a name for himself. He's one of those he's not a tall wing, but he plays big. Let's look up Lou Dort real quick. I think Lou Dort is like 6'4". He plays bigger than 6'4". Let me look it up real quick. So Lou Dort is 6'3". He's 6'3". So he's even shorter than the 6'4" that I thought he was. Last year, he averaged 17 points and 4 rebounds. The year before that, 14 points and 3 rebounds. He's an up-and-coming player, solid player for the OKC Thunder. Speaking of the Thunder, they're just so solid all across. Chris Boucher returns back to Toronto. Dedmond returned back to Miami, of course. Thaddeus Young returned back to the Raptors. Let's see if there's any other interesting deals that went down. Patty Mills going back to the Nets. I didn't see that happening, but it did. Marvin Bagley gets a 3-year, $37 million contract. Good for him because he was almost out of the league. He was almost on his way out. Jason Tate, a guy that I love his game. 3-year deal, $22 million. That's a steal. His next contract is definitely going to be bigger than that. We talked about Lonnie Walker going to the Lakers, Troy Brown going to the Lakers, Damian Jones going to the Lakers, Thomas Bryant going to the Lakers, Juan Toscano Anderson also going to the Lakers. And what does that tell me? Lakers went younger and they went way more athletic because last year they had all these old guys like Melo and the rest of these guys, and they were just so old. Although Melo did play well. I would not have minded Melo coming back, but Melo provides zero defense for the Lakers. And with new coach Darvin Ham, I think he wants to play more of a grinded out type game. So they surrounded LeBron with some guys that they feel can give them some potential, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. Lonnie Walker has a chance to average 12 to 14 points a game for the Lakers. Troy Brown, a guy who's almost kind of out the league, not really fitting in, drafted by Washington, went to Chicago, didn't work out. So he got some upside there. Nick Claxton returning back to the Nets. Talked about Toscano Anderson going to the Lakers. This is a big one right here. Kyle Anderson going to Minnesota. He's a solid player. You get him for $18 million for 2 years. That's a steal right there. Kevin Knox gets a 2-year deal, $6 million to go to the Pistons. He's gonna, he's fighting for his life right now. DeLon Wright, we talked about that, going to the Wizards. Damian Jones going to the Lakers. We already talked about that. Muscala returning back to OKC. John Moran gets a big deal, $186 million for 5 years. And the way that this thing works is if he hits all NBA, this $186 million can go into the twos. It'll be a $200 million and above type contract if he's able to hit some, if he's able to ascend into being that top tier player, which we all know that John Moran is. He just has to do it, and then he'll get more money. Let's get into the comments. Dre says, Dort defensively is solid. His three-point shooting has improved, and they're paying him for the future. Smart move. Absolutely. And he's also a great asset that they can trade if they want to upgrade their roster. So I love him as a 3-and-D type player. He can defend. He defends he's like a Marcus Smart. I'm not saying he's Marcus Smart type defense, but he can be. So he's a Marcus Smart type player. That's the best person I can kind of describe him like. Dre's also asking, Manny, is the John Collins trade move off the board now? I don't think it's off the board. I think the Hawks are looking for the best possible deal to get or to move John Collins forward. Think about it. You already have Capella, right? You have 2 point guards in Murray and Trey that's going to throw lobs all day, right? Collins is more versatile than Clint Capella in the sense that Collins can knock down some shots, right? But you might be there might be a team out there looking for a power forward to play their small ball center, right? And then maybe the Hawks get back another type of wing, because it's like in today's game, you're seeing more wings and less power forwards. Like, so you'll get, like, let's say a lineup of Capella, right? You have Hunter, who's an ascending player. He's 6'9". He can play, or 6'8". He can play that power forward position, small ball, and then maybe you get another type of wing kind of guy. A guy that would have been perfect would have been Miles Bridges, but Miles Bridges did what Miles Bridges just did, and he's practically out the league now. So I don't know what kind of move you can make for John Collins, but the contracts have to match. It might be multiple players. It might be a player and maybe some draft picks. But I definitely see John Collins being moved. I don't think they want to run Capella and John Collins together. John Collins is a good player. Maybe they feel like he's giving them as much as he can give them. So just keep a lookout for John Collins. I think he goes somewhere and changes the dynamics of some other team. It says Williamson gets the cash for MVP. Maybe All-NBA. Absolutely. Yeah, if he gets MVP, All-NBA, there's a way that they're doing these, like all these contracts now. And all these young guys like Morant and like his whole draft class, a lot of them got the extensions, right? So if they hit certain stipulations, they get all these different, all these different things. So yeah, NBA is going crazy. They're just throwing bags at everybody. Karl Anthony Towns, 4-year, $224 million extension. Gary Payton III leaving the Golden State Warriors was a big shocker to me. I thought that, he fits in perfectly with what Golden State was doing, but I don't think Golden State wanted to pay him $28 million for 3 years. Golden State was able to get DiVincenzo a lot cheaper. So here's that Zion deal that you was talking about. Zion gets that 5-year rookie max contract extension worth $231 million. So that's the worth. We don't know what the actual is right now, but that's the worth. It can be worth up to that. With all the MVPs and all NBAs, all stars, just different things that they put into the contract to motivate players. And I think that more contracts should be done like that. You want your guys to be motivated. If you play well, you earn your cash. If you don't play well, you don't get all the cash. You know what I'm saying? You just get that base level pay. Ricky Rubio to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think that's solid for both teams, for both sides. I think that we all know that Colin Sexton is on his way out. Maybe a sign and trade with Dallas, maybe a sign and trade with Miami. I don't know. Like, Colin Sexton is on his way out. We don't know where he's going to go as of right now. But so Ricky Rubio is the backup to Darius Garland as we speak. Bruce Brown and KCP both going to Denver. I like the move. These are two guys that are going to give you energy on defense. He's more of a cutter slasher while KCP is a shooter. Bobo remains with the Orlando Magic. What other moves? JaVale McGee going to Dallas. And we also know that Christian Wood went to Dallas in trade, right? So there's speculations that JaVale McGee wants to start. If JaVale McGee starts, he's going to get a lot of live opportunity from Luka Doncic, which is going to be good for JaVale McGee. But at the same time, I don't know if JaVale McGee and Christian Wood work well together. Either way it goes, the NBA is trying to go back to where you're seeing multiple bigs. Lakers do it, right? Lakers going to have a center and Anthony Davis. That's a big front court. Dallas is going to have JaVale McGee and Christian Wood, right? You have Cat and Rudy Gobert. You're going to see multiple teams trying to have a big front court. But you're going to have those teams that also play the small ball, like the Golden States of the world that will have Draymond Green playing that, that center, that small ball center. So it's all about situations, who's going to impose their will. Lakers won their first title for the most part playing big until they played Miami, who played small, which forced JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard to not play much in that final. So it's all about a chess match. Gary Harris finds a deal with the Orlando Magic, 2-year, $26 million deal. That's pretty solid. Drummond goes to the Chicago Bulls. I thought he was going to find a place where he can start, but that's just going to be a journey for Andre Drummond moving forward. 1-year deals, just bouncing from team to team, and he's now a role player. He was a guy that had all-star potential, now has fallen, and he's now a role player. Mitchell Robinson gets a $60 million deal, 4 years. Aaron Holiday signs with the Atlanta Hawks to back up Trey and Murray. Murray's going to play a lot of two, but, when Trey's on the bench, then Murray's playing, So I don't know how that whole Hawks dynamic works or how it's going to work. Otto Porter goes to Toronto. So you're seeing that Golden State is losing some key pieces that help them win the title. So Gallinari going to the Celtics after, being traded and waived, released. Zach LaVine, 5-year, $215 million deal. He gets his bag. I don't know how long he stays in Chicago. They had a good thing going last year, and then they fell off. So, it is what it is. Dre says contracts are ludicrous. Yeah, it is, man. When you draft the right rookie after a year, after like 2 or 3 years, they get that max deal. And if you see all-star potential, you go ahead and pay them. A guy like DeAndre Ayton, where Phoenix don't want to pay him, is because you don't see that all-star potential out of DeAndre Ayton because he's always eating from Chris Paul. That's just that Chris Paul effect. So maybe if DeAndre Ayton goes to a team like, let's say, the Detroit Pistons or the Pacers, where he can showcase his talent a little bit more and say, hey, I can score on my own. Throw me the ball in the post. I hit you with the hook shot. I can score on my own. So we'll see what happens with him. But once you show potential, once you flash in year one, like Trey did, or Luka, you get that bag, man. And these guys are worth every single penny. John Wall signing with the Clippers. Nurkic is back, 4 years, $70 million deal. Solid deal for him. Drew Eubanks going back to Portland. So Portland, we don't know what Portland is trying to do. Did they really add enough? They got Jeremy Grant in a deal, right? In a trade. Did Portland really do enough to keep Dame Lillard happy? This might be the year that Dame Lillard gets traded. I know he wants to stay there and he wants to do this, and he has a chance to sign a contract to where he can be earning up to $50 million a year or something like that. So we'll see what happens with Dame Lillard. I think he gets his money, and then they probably end up trading him, because if the team ends up doing bad this year, then it's like, what is the point of wasting some of the best years left of Dame Lillard's career? on, mediocre teams. Man, if you're just joining, please like, please subscribe, please share. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is a trade that was a shocker. Atlanta traded Kevin Huerter to Sacramento for Justin Holiday, Mo Harkless, and a future first-round pick. I think because of all the talent that ATL was getting, they had to shed some talent, and this guy right here is a shooter. So they sacrificed some shooting to bring in some defense. So we'll see what happens. I thought he would have been a nice piece to go along Trey and Murray, but hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? You bring in some defenders in Justin Holiday, Mo Harkless. So we'll see if they keep those guys, or if those guys are people or the guys that are waived at the buyout portion of the season. Derrick Jones just continues to get deals. I don't know how this guy continues to get deals, man. 2 years, $6.6 million. Damien Lee, another piece for the Golden State Warriors leaving. He was solid, but he didn't really have much of an impact this past season, especially in the postseason. But in the regular season, he was a big piece of what Golden State was able to do. Bismack Biyombo returns back to Phoenix. Darius Garland gets that 5-year, $193 million max deal. Shout out to Darius Garland from Nashville, Tennessee. Went to Vanderbilt, right down the street. Cody Martin, 4-year, $32 million deal. He's eating too, because I thought that the other Martin, Caleb Martin, was better than Cody Martin, but Cody Martin got signed first, and $32 million for 4 years is a solid deal for a bench role guy. Cleveland gets Robin Lopez. Let's see what else happened. Ibaka returning back to the Bucks. Honestly, I forgot that Ibaka was on the Bucks. To be honest, I forgot. Hawk says, I can see Simons being an all-star. I can see him being an all-star, not next year. The West is so tough. Like, who is he going to replace? If you have 6 guards that make the all-star team, who is Simons going to replace? I don't see it this year, but he's trending up in the right direction. And I think that Simons is going to be starting alongside Dame Lillard this season. Since I don't know when, but he's talented. Okay, I didn't see the second part of your comment. So, all right. So we both agree that Simons can be an all-star, but just not yet. Like, just not this season. It could happen this season, but I'm not counting on it, especially with Dame Lillard being there. Now, if there's no Dame Lillard in the equation, boom, all-star instantly. It says, so I'm with Dame time being traded this season. Man, that would be so dope. Says Caleb got a little bit more money, less years. Yes, I like Caleb. Caleb is the better guy. Caleb is a baller. I wanted this guy on the Lakers so bad. I wanted him so bad. He's 6'6", wing player. Both guys have improved their shooting this year, and that's just phenomenal to see. I love when these young players trend in the right direction. TJ Warren going to the Nets, once again, one of those pieces that the Nets get a potential replacement for KD. So you have Warren and you have the other guy I mentioned earlier. I can't even think of his name right now. So it's like the Nets are planning for a future that does not include Kyrie or KD. And who knows what happens with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons might be on his way out as well. The Nets are just a poor ran franchise. When they hired Steve Nash, I was like, I don't know if Steve Nash is going to mesh with when they had James Harden and Kyrie and KD. That was a special team that just could never really get healthy and just never really could get on the floor at the same time. Here's a Caleb Martin deal right here. 3-year, $20 million. Solid deal. Michael Brogdon, big trade. Getting traded to the Celtics. Could you believe that? Michael Brogdon going to the Celtics. The Celtics have needed a point guard for the longest time, and they get one. But my question to you guys is, do you guys think that Michael Brogdon is healthy? If he's healthy, it makes this Celtics team a whole lot better, especially adding Gallinari, because I was talking about their bench not being so well. So now you have Gallinari, you have Brogdon. Those are major key acquisitions for the Celtics, which puts the Celtics as a top 3 team in the East this year. Let me see what Hawk said. It says Shareef O'Neal and Scottie Pippen. Man, look, the Lakers have an O'Neal and the Lakers have a Pippen, man. But I don't think neither one is going to help my Lakers this year. But Shareef O'Neal should have stayed in school. He's going to be a project. He's going to be on a summer league team, and then we'll see what happens with him moving forward. Scottie Pippen Jr., my only regret with him is that he went to Vanderbilt. I live close to Vanderbilt. And I didn't get to go and watch him play. Honestly, I forgot that Scottie Pippen was here in Nashville. He's a really good scorer. The team wasn't good, so he was able to, jack up a lot of shots. He averaged about 20 points a game with Vanderbilt. So he has the potential to score. And if you're watching Summer League, he can create. He can play that point guard position, and he has that potential to play some defense. So I'm excited about Scottie Pippen Jr., actually. Sharif O'Neal, whatever. We'll see what happens. Hawk says I like both of them. That's what's up. Says absolutely. Michael Brogdon was a good pickup. Celtics' biggest problem in the finals was they got nothing easy, and it turned into and they turned it over a lot. Marcus Smart is not a point guard. Yes, Marcus Smart is not a point guard. Also, Jason Tatum needs to work on his ball handling. He's not a point guard. He's not a creator. Jaylen Brown is not a creator. So yeah, they really needed that point guard presence. And Michael Brogdon brings it if he's healthy. But if I am the Celtics, you have to go and find a backup point guard somewhere. I know that they've done the Kemba Walker thing, but Kemba Walker sounds perfect coming off the bench. They need to revisit that because at least Kemba Walker is not getting ripped. He's a pure point guard. So we'll see what happens with the backup point guard role because Pritchard is not it for the Celtics. But Michael Brogdon, if he's healthy, great pickup. Sharif is not a pro right now. Maybe one day. I agree. He's not a pro. He needs to be developed, and hopefully he can be developed under the tutelage of the Lakers Summer League and G League team, and then maybe eventually be called up to the big team. Kevon Looney, hey, Golden State had to sign somebody, so they finally brought it back one of their key guys. He returns. We talked about the Rudy Gobert trade. We talked about the DiVincenzo signing with Golden State. Dragic going to the Bulls. I don't too much get that. I thought he was going to be a fit for Dallas. He obviously wasn't. Brian Forbes goes to the Timberwolves. So I think we've pretty much covered most of the NBA trades. Since we have a little bit of time left, I want to talk about the Summer League. You know what I'm saying? Thing with Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren is going to be a good player. I'm intrigued, but Chet is so skinny. He's so thin. But he has a potential to get stronger. Just because you're thin does not mean that you're not strong. So we're going to talk about Chet's Summer League, his first game, and then what happened in his second game. Let me see what Dre said. Dre says Malcolm needs to be in bubble wrap until the season. Boston gets the old Bronx lethal 50, 40, 90 player. Absolutely, man. Look, Brogdon can play, and like I said, if he's healthy, he's a dog. I till this day, I think that Milwaukee made a mistake letting him go, but they were able to get Drew Holiday, who actually fit what they do. So you lost Brogdon by I think when Milwaukee lost Brogdon, they brought in Eric Bledsoe, if I'm not mistaken. And then they didn't too much work out so well. But I'm going to queue up this Summer League stuff, and then we're going to talk about it. And Holmgren, let's see what he's been doing. I'm going to pull up some videos, and I'm going to share these videos. So the first one I'm going to share is the one that had all the hype with him looking like Dirk Nowitzki. It's taking social media by storm. Everybody's on that Chet train, whether you like him, whether you don't. Definitely some potential there. I'm like right now, I'm still half and half on Chet. I don't know if he's going to be good or not. But here's that clip. That's very Dirk-esque. But he's going to have to put on some weight. If not, then he just have to play that power forward position. It says, game's on tonight. Take a short nap. 10 p.m., 10:59 start tonight. Hey, man. Hey, take that nap, man. Hey, get these games in. I'm excited for these games. He says, I'm a Kenny Lofton Jr. fan. Hey, Dre, appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Yeah, Lofton can ball, man. Lofton is a baller. Is there any relation to Kenny Lofton and baseball player? That's really what I want to know. I gotta research that. But so let me see if I can find some more Let me see. There's more on chat that I want to share, but I gotta scroll down and see. So here's that. Here's Lofton bullying this guy, and this is after Chet was talking all his trash. Look at this big boy, man. Bully boy. Ooh. Jeez Louise. Lofton's a dog, man. And he went to the right team. The Grizzlies are going to get him right, man. They're going to get him right. See, God don't like ugly. And see, after Chet was talking all this trash, this is what Kenny Lofton had to do. Kenny Lofton had the little iPad like this, like Jordan had, and says, you know what? I took it personally. Chet was just talking all this trash about people being small, people can't guard them. I love for people to have their confidence, but at the same time, come on. So let me see what else I can find. Folks are out here clowning Chet. They say this is Chet Holmgren taking a charge from Giannis this season. Oh, man, this is going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year in the league, man.
He has so much size on you and strength.
You guys had a little conversation walking off the court. What were you talking to each other about?
No, that's my dog. We was just talking a little trash to each other. We're going to go at it. He's going to be in the league for a long time, hell of a player. We're going to go at it whenever we play. But, when we step outside the lines, that's my dog for sure.
You had a really tough matchup with Kenny Lofton.
Hey,
he had so much.
That's a great answer. I can't even lie. That's a great answer. That's a great way to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're friends. Like, as Chet said, him and Kenny are friends. All fun. I just saw that. I didn't know that. So that's good to know. When you step on the court, you compete. That's what it's supposed to be. And then when you get off the court, you pay your respects and, you dap it up and you live to see another day. It says Kenny Lofton Jr.'s dad was extremely smaller with Cleveland, former Indians. Okay. Lofton's game was tailor-made for the NBA. Absolutely. I know it's a summer league, but I love the way that he plays. Lofton, the baseball player, is not his dad. Okay, that's good to know. All right, let's see what else we can find on Chet right here, man. Go back.
The Jazz, the ball has to move.
Man, that shot is good. But he's so thin. He's so thin.
We're going to watch the three-point shot. Chet Holmgren has been knocking down.
He's smooth. To be honest, right now, Chet is really a small forward to me right now. Granted, he can get better and you can do this and that, but for right now. So let me see this. So this is that first game.
Two-handed, and that's just a great defensive play by Holmgren going straight right there, the big fella.
So, yeah, I like the kid overall. We're definitely going to see what happens. Summer League, I'm going to be catching all these games tonight and moving forward. So, guys, this is the stream. This is the episode, man. This is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel, the Talking Sports with Manny podcast, the NBA version. We discussed free agency. It was a great show. We talked a little bit about the Summer League. If you're listening on audio, please leave me a rating on Apple, Spotify. Go in there, give me 5 stars and say something nice about the pod, Talking Sports with Manny podcast. You can find me just about everywhere. Great show. Please subscribe, please share, and I will catch you guys on the next episode or on the next stream. Most likely tomorrow night, I'm probably going to be streaming, and there's going to be fantasy football. If not tomorrow night, maybe later on tonight. But like I said, more streams, more pods on the way. Love you guys, and y'all be blessed.